What's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Beth, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you guys all of the things that I am doing to prepare for a newborn baby. I feel like that's one of the questions that you get all of the time when you are a first-time mom is, do you feel ready? Do you recognize the amount of life change that's about to come your way? And so this is kind of my way to answer that question, let you guys know how I've processed through this insane life change that's about to happen to my husband and I, but also just sit down with you guys and talk candidly and pass on some of the advice that's been passed on to me. I feel like my husband and I are so blessed in terms of friends and family that have just come around us with this pregnancy and with this transition into parenthood, and we feel so supported in that way, and we can ask them for advice now when she's here, as she's growing up, so we know that we have this incredible support system. But I know that not everybody has that, and so for whatever reason, if you are watching this video and you're like, what the heck do I do to prepare for a newborn? Like, I don't know how to get myself ready for this new season of life. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I hope this video can help you. I hope that it can encourage you, that there could be some things that we've done that you could take and actually put into practice in your own life and situation. And so that's kind of the heart behind why I'm sharing what I'm sharing today. So if you guys like this video, please be sure to like it before you leave and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. But I would also love to know if you are a parent, whether a new mom or you are seasoned in this parenthood thing. Comment down below with something that you did to prepare for your baby that you found really helpful, or maybe even just the best piece of advice that somebody gave you when you were getting ready to transition into being a parent as well. But without further ado, let's get started. So to make this the easiest for you guys to watch, I've actually organized it into a few different categories of things we are doing. The first category is emotional and spiritual prep. The next one that I'll dive into is physical prep, financial prep, and then some of the practical prep stuff that we have done to get ready for this baby girl. So starting with emotionally and spiritually, one of the first things that I would recommend that you do if you are getting ready to welcome a baby into the world, and this might be something that you have never heard before and sounds super weird to you, it's actually going to therapy, going to counseling. One of the things that Jared and I did before we got married was actually invest our time and our finances into doing couples premarital counseling. And basically that just helped us work through stuff that may have been in each one of us that we didn't know was there, that was better to come out before we got married versus after we got married, to just process through what this change was going to look like for us, to have those hard conversations in advance. And honestly, I don't know if there are any life transitions that are as big as either getting married or having a baby in this life. I feel like those are the biggest things that can really shake up life as you knew it. And so for us, when we were getting married, it was like a no-brainer for us to do counseling. But then I heard someone say a few years later, it's crazy that parents don't do that as well, to actually work through some of the stuff that they have maybe been holding on to, or baggage or trauma from their childhood that maybe they haven't dealt with yet, and all of this different stuff that can come up. And so for me, I just remembered that, and I was like, when I get pregnant, I am going to do counseling. I'm going to work through maybe the stuff in my own family that I want to process through before this baby girl comes, get ready for her as well as I can to be the best mom that I can be. And so I would recommend that you do that as well. With my counselor, we went through a few different things week over week that I wanted to work on or improve on or just be aware of when I have this baby girl. And I feel like that has given me so much peace of mind, reduced my anxiety by so much when it comes to thinking about how I'm going to handle this emotionally, because it is a really big transition. And so whether you do that on your own or you do that with your partner or your spouse, I think that counseling is one of the best things that you can actually do in terms of the time that you invest to prepare for your baby to come into this world. The next thing that Jared and I have been doing just together from an emotional and spiritual perspective is actually planning ahead as husband and wife. So we firmly believe that the best thing that we can do for our baby girl is actually maintain a healthy marriage. And so often you hear that parents get into those early phases of having a baby and things just go haywire. You are not sleeping as much. You as a mom are now spending so much time on this baby. Your husband's not getting that time with you as much anymore. Things things look different, it's more stressful. And so across the board, we want to make sure that our marriage is just in a good and healthy place going into having a newborn, so that we can help to kind of wade through those waters a little bit more carefully and easily. I know that it is impossible to fully prepare for the change that will come to your marriage when you have a baby. However, there are things that you can do to plan ahead and actually just get on the same page of what are our expectations with this. For me as the mom, I know that I'm gonna probably be feeding the baby most of the time because our plan is to breastfeed. However, what can Jared do to help? Can he be the one that actually takes her most of the time to burp her or puts her back to sleep? Or what household tasks can Jared take over for a little while I'm with the baby? Or how do we want this to look? How are we still gonna prioritize date night, even if it's not for a while or it's just at home? Or what are we actually gonna do to make sure that romance and intimacy is still actually maintained in our marriage, even though we can't do anything 6 months postpartum with the downstairs? And so it's all of these things to think about in advance and actually have conversations with your spouse about, so that you're not getting to that point of having a newborn baby and just looking at each other like we are living on other planets right now. Like, I don't know what you're thinking, you don't know what I'm thinking, I'm frustrated. So we're trying to have those conversations in advance, just getting on the same page and making sure that we are tackling this as a team. The next category that I will jump into in terms of what I'm doing to prepare for a newborn baby is the physical category. So of course, physically, I've been trying to keep myself as healthy as possible through this pregnancy. I think that that's just going to make it easier for myself to actually transition when she's here back into a regular healthy lifestyle of regular exercise and eating well and all of those things. However, another thing that I'm also doing is pelvic floor physiotherapy. So I had no idea what pelvic floor physiotherapy was before I got pregnant, but I have a friend that is a pelvic floor physiotherapist that reached out to me, and so we connected and started chatting, and I actually worked with her over a course of a couple of months to get my body physically ready for birth, for labor, for all of these things that are about to come up. And you guys, it took away so much of the anxiety for me when it comes to childbirth specifically. So I worked with SOS Physiotherapy in Waterloo, and my personal experience was incredible. We talked about so many things, ranging from breathing exercises that can help with incontinence and peeing and sneezing when you pee, which I talked about in a previous video and told you guys I would let you know how I actually fixed that. And it was through pelvic floor physiotherapy. It was about breathing and actually learning how to control those muscles and recognizing that in my case, they were a little bit weak, but there was something that I could do about that. And so working through those breathing exercises, those different techniques that can actually help you be more aware of your pelvic floor, but that also bridges into labor as well, because we were able to talk about some of the ways to stretch that area for birth to get it ready for baby girl to come, but also different things like breathing exercises that I could do to cope through labor. And so all of those different things honestly reduced my anxiety so much. I can't recommend it enough. If you guys do want to check out SOS Physiotherapy and you are in Ontario, they do offer free consultations that you can go and speak with a physiotherapist to see if it's right for you. So I will link that information down below. But in my case, I was so nervous before birth, before going and talking to someone and figuring out what I could do to prepare physically for it. And so now I personally feel a lot better going into it, but I also feel like I know and I have a game plan after I give birth of how I can get back on track again. And so for me, that was invaluable. And I hope that if you are in that position of maybe feeling a little bit anxious about birth and labor, that physiotherapy could be good for you as well. The next category that I'm going to go into is what we are doing practically to get ready for baby. And the first thing that I want to recommend to you guys is Sarah Lavon's content on YouTube. So Jared and I actually opted against doing like a paid childbirth class or anything like that, just because we both found that there was so much content that was out there already. And it's hard to know if you're going to really click with your birthing provider, I guess, when you're choosing a childbirth class, because you're opting into paying for this like model where you get all of this content delivered to you, but then you don't actually know if you 100% really agree with some of their positions on things or their techniques. And so for me, I feel like there's so many different ways that people approach childbirth, whether they're like 100% natural, like epidurals are from hell, to the people that are like go with the epidural, like don't even consider doing it natural, like just do whatever your doctor tells you. There is so much like mixed information that's on the web right now when it comes to birth, and I found that a little overwhelming. And so what Jared and I decided is that we would use YouTube, we would talk to our friends and family to kind of come to our own decisions on things. But Sarah Levon has been someone that I have come back to so many times on YouTube, not just for childbirth and labor, but also for bringing your baby home and for breastfeeding and all of these different things. So she, I believe, is a labor and delivery nurse, but also just a doula and a childbirth educator, and all of her content on YouTube is 100% free. It's available for you to go watch. And so if you are of the mind of like, I don't know how to breastfeed, I don't know birthing positions, like how am I supposed to breathe in labor, all of this stuff that you may be wondering, but maybe not in a position to pay for a birth class, or you just don't want to commit that time, you can watch Sarah Levon's videos on YouTube. There is a video for absolutely everything, and it has really given us a sense of confidence going into childbirth, that we know what we can expect and we know how we can be flexible if things don't actually go the way that we planned. So I would definitely recommend her content if you are looking for ways to prepare for the actual birthing experience. Another thing that we've been doing from a practical perspective is reading through the book Baby Wise. So sleep training is one of those things that, again, there's a lot of mixed information on, a lot of mixed opinions on, but Jared and I are planning on sleep training our baby girl once she gets to a certain age and we have her even out of our bassinet. But even before that, we want to set up healthy sleep habits, because what's going to be really great for her is obviously us being present and being available for her when she's upset, but also making sure that she gets sleep, because babies do need to sleep. We're all human, we all need sleep, we're all better people when we are well rested. And so Jared and I have been reading through Baby Wise because it is a Christian perspective. It's someone that we have heard a lot of our friends and family recommend when it comes to how to sleep train in a really healthy way. And so we're reading through that together before she's here, so that we have a good understanding of what we need to do in the different life stages to make sure that she's set up for success when it comes to sleep at night. And the last category that I'm going to go into in this video is what we've been doing financially to prepare for baby girl. So this one is hard, because I feel like when it comes to knowing when to start saving for mat leave or for when a baby is going to come, you can't always know that because you don't know when you're gonna get pregnant. I would say that the best case scenario is that if you are currently trying to get pregnant and you haven't already started saving for a mat leave or for time off of work, that now would be a good time to start if you know it's coming. However, in our case, we started saving as soon as we found out that we were pregnant. So in Canada, the situation that we have here is actually pretty great. I can't complain too much because I know that there are so many places in other areas of the world where maternity leave and pay is not that great. If you are in America, I feel for you. I know that a lot of my viewers are, and things like 6 weeks time off and 8 weeks and all of that stuff, it can be stressful to figure out like, what are we going to do financially to get ready for this baby, because I'm gonna have to go back to work, or what do we want to do to make this work? And so for us, we are going to be doing the 12-month option in Canada, which means that I can get 55% of my pay because I was working full-time before we found out that we were pregnant. So I'll be starting that mat leave, and essentially my paycheck is just going to be cut in half for 12 months. That is not so bad compared to what I've heard for other places in the world and in Canada, but it's still something to think about. It's still a huge change to the way that we live and the way that we operate. And so one of the first things that Jared and I did was actually sit down and create a new budget for when baby girl arrives, and I switch over to this mat leave pay. So to budget, we both use the EveryDollar app, which is by Dave Ramsey. We love Dave Ramsey. We really stand behind his practices and his models of paying down debt and the way that it looks to actually reach financial freedom. But we sat down and we built out an EveryDollar budget for June that basically incorporates the new mat leave pay and allows us to still do all of the things that are important to us, like save money, like tithe, like be generous, put food on the table, all of these different things. And for us, knowing that we have a budget ready to go that actually accounts for everything that we will have as of June and all of the bases are still covered, gives us so much peace and mental freedom leading up to baby girl's arrival, because we don't have to be stressed about where money's going to come from or how we are going to make this work. God has actually shown up in so many incredible ways for us and provided throughout this season of saving for mat leave as well. And so, as I mentioned, when we found out that we were pregnant, we decided to start saving for this season. So we have an emergency savings pool in our bank account, but we also have a mat leave savings pool in our bank account. So with this maternity leave fund that we have and we've been saving and putting into over the last 9 months, that is just buffer. That is not what we've used to budget out for our everyday living in the EveryDollar app. The only money that we're looking at for that is what comes in for Jared's paycheck and what comes in for my mat leave. So we're planning at the end of the day to know how to live and only live off of what we know is coming in. And that maternity leave fund is just going to be buffer for us. So if anything unexpected happens, like a situation with a car, or I don't know, we need to buy something that we weren't planning on buying, we have the emergency savings fund that Dave Ramsey recommends saving up for, and we also have this maternity leave buffer fund that we've got as well. So with all of that being set up, I know that Jared and I have both just felt so much more confident and secure in our finances going into a season where a little bit less will be coming in, and that has given us a lot of peace of mind as new parents. At the end of the day, I know that it is impossible to be fully prepared for your first baby because you have no idea how your life is going to change. You don't know what your baby's personality will be like, what their temperament will be like, how you and your spouse will react to it. You also just can't plan for life, and life happens sometimes where there is loss and there is change and all of these different things. However, there are things that you can do to get yourself ready for that life transition, and I hope the ones that I shared today were helpful for you guys. Again, if you are watching this and there is something that someone told you to do to prepare for a baby, or just something that you did that actually did work really well, comment down below, because I'm not there yet and I'm still looking for new advice. There is always room to be learning. And if you are watching this video and just feeling like, oh my gosh, like there is a lot of life change happening, there's a lot that I need to do to prepare, just take a deep breath, know that you've got this, you can do this, you're going to be incredible as a new parent. I fully believe that for you. But I hope that some of these tips and tricks have helped you just wrap your head around some of the things that you can do to prepare for a newborn as well. Before you guys head out today, make sure to like this video if you did like it, and also subscribe to my channel for more baby content coming up soon. We are getting real close to this due date and baby is coming. So I've mentioned it in a previous message, but if you want to be the first to know when she does arrive, make sure that you're following me over on Instagram at Beth Grace Moore, because that will be the first place that we post until we can get some content up on YouTube as well. So until next week, I love you guys, I'm praying for you guys, and I will see you soon.